Hi, I'm Beginner Driver. One embarrassing moment for beginner drivers is when you're about to enter or leave a car park, and your car stops too far from the parking kiosk. You're forced to get out of the car to pay the parking fee, which feels especially awkward if there's a long line of cars waiting behind you. For a parking kiosk on a straight road, here's what you need to do. Steer at a small angle toward the kiosk. Then straighten the steering wheel to bring the car closer. Keep an eye on the front corner of your car and side mirror to avoid hitting the curb and kiosk. When the front corner gets close to the curb, steer away from it at a small angle. This way, the driver's side will end up close to the kiosk, making it easy to pay the parking fee. It's a much trickier situation when you have to make a tight corner and the parking kiosk is right after it. In this case, the challenge is that to leave the car park, you need to turn left, but turning left makes it harder for the driver to reach the kiosk. Here's an animation showing how drivers steer when leaving a car park. The dot in color represents the center of the car's rotation. The closer the dot, the more the driver is steering. If you want to learn more about the theory of steering, check out my previous video. Beginners often steer too early and only a little. Then, when they notice the front corner is about to hit the curb, they turn the wheel more to the left. But by the time they stop the car to pay the parking fee, they realize they're too far from the kiosk to reach it. Here's real-life footage of a common beginner mistake. The driver starts steering early with a small turn, then steers more when the car gets close to the curb. Reduce left steering to make the car closer to the kiosk. The kiosk is too far to reach, and the driver have to leave the car to pay the parking fee. Now, let's compare a successful stop, where the car ends up close to the kiosk, with a failed one. First, look at the starting position. In the successful case, the car begins closer to the right curb. This gives more room to adjust when the car approaches the gate. In the successful case, the driver starts steering with less distance between the car and the front curb, and they use more steering compared to the failed attempt. This also creates extra room to adjust when facing the gate. As the driver steers left, you'll see the front corner getting closer to the curb. But once the car passes a certain point, the front corner starts moving further away from the curb. Your job is to keep the front corner and side mirror close to the curb and kiosk without hitting it by gradually reducing how much you steer left. Then, you'll see the car stays close to the curb, making it easy to reach the kiosk. Here's real-life footage of a successful case. The car starts in a more rightward position. Begins steering when it's closer to the curb, and turns the wheel sharply. The driver then reduces the left steering and slowly moves the car to keep the car near the kiosk. Finally reaches the kiosk successfully. Here's a side-by-side comparison between the successful and failed attempts. The successful starting position is more to the right. The failed driver starts steering early, while the successful one waits. When a successful driver begins steering, they turn the wheel more sharply. The successful driver then reduces the left steering to keep the car close to curb without hitting the it, and also keep the side mirror away from kiosk. When the successful one already leave the car park, the failed one just leave the car. Now, you don't have to leave a car park by driving like this. You could use a card extender to help you reach the kiosk. But some car parks have physical buttons that an extender can't press, and the skills I'm sharing also work when driving into some narrow car park entrance. So I hope you to master the skill and prevent such embarrassing moment. If you find these techniques useful, hit the subscribe button, comment, like, and share. I will be very grateful for your support.